We have one more guest coming into the neighborhood. She is well known to fans of the show because she usually plays our Today Yesterday quiz opposite David Schuhert.
Do you think she'll be wearing the crown?
Vicky Quaggy. Well, yeah, except we're not playing the.
Yeah, but she could still wear the crown. Yeah.
Yeah. So Leslie Hoban Blake, she has co-starred with Charlie Gross on their theater review show called Two on the Aisle for many, many years. And you can watch episodes of Two on the Aisle and also segments of it on the YouTube channel for Charlie Gross or Two on the Aisle. You can also watch them on MNN, Manhattan Neighborhood Network. So, Leslie is an old friend, an old friend of the show. I mean, I've known her long before I was doing even Dave's Gone By. But we've got her coming on to, again, answer these usual questions of favorite shows of the year and maybe some predictions of winners of the Tony Awards. How are you doing? I haven't really had a chance to even talk to you. Well, in the first half hour.
I'm busy. I'd like to have some food, but I know it will annoy you if I eat in here, so I can't.
Yeah, well, the show will be done in about less than half an hour, I think. So, yeah. Well, it says 11:15.
Aren't you glad I joined you?
Orange. You glad?
Make your show a little more peachy?
As long as the show doesn't turn into a lemon or a flying citrus.
Or some fruit salad.
Well, no, I'm not going to make a fruits joke. Anyway, that would be politically incorrect. So Leslie is, of course, trying to log in. Okay.
No, I think I'm here. Hello.
I hear you. We don't.
Yeah, you won't see me, David.
Oh.
You won't be able to see me, David. I'm sorry. This is the best I can do this morning.
Are you feeling okay? How are you, Leslie?
Yeah, I'm feeling okay. I just overslept. I'm very sorry.
It's a quarter. What time do you go to sleep at night, Leslie? I'm not being.
David, I haven't gotten my circadian rhythms back. You're going to have to stop. You're going to have to forgive me. I'm still on a 24-hour cycle, and it's the wrong cycle.
I got you. Yeah, my menstrual cycle has just been driving me.
I got you. I got you, David.
So anyway, unfortunately, we don't get to visually see Leslie, but we do get to hear her, and we get to hear Leslie talk about her favorite shows of the year. Leslie, what were they?
Well, it's interesting. I am in the minority on some of the. I'm in a vocal minority on some of the favorite shows. I had the best time at Anne Juliet. Of all the musicals that I saw, this poor little musical, Anne Juliet, was the one at which I had the best time. It was witty. I found it amusing, and I was engrossed with it the entire time.
Now, Leslie, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you call it a poor little musical. It's doing pretty well at the box office, and it's Tony nominated. Yeah,
I understand. I'm just saying that I don't think it's done very well in the award category, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And I feel bad for it because looking back over the time that I got, you have to remember that my theater going was in November and in May. Those are the 2 times of the year that I went to the theater this whole year. And I squeezed 12 plays into 9 days in May. So, it was a very, it kind of went by in a flash.
Sure.
But I as an old friend, as you always call me, as an old theater goer, I that's kind of not new for me. I used to do marathons all the time. So that part's not a bad thing. But I did get to see most of what was on Broadway and some of what was off Broadway. And that was the one that I had the best time.
And
so,
yeah,
that's what you asked me, I think. So that's
yeah. What, so, besides Juliet, what else did you love?
And I loved it a lot when I saw it. What was my biggest disappointment, or is that not what we're going to do?
We can do that too. It's very open. It's very, I want to hear what you're season. Yeah.
I think my biggest disappointment was Camelot, because it was a very special show to me. I did see the original. I was a wee girl. No, I wasn't either. But I mean, the point is that I saw the original.
Well, no, you were pretty young. I mean, yeah.
Well, but I saw it with Richard Burton and Julie Andrews, and who can top them? I mean, really and truly. And unfortunately, when I went to see it, Andrew Burnap was not in it. And his understudy, who had a magnificent operatic voice, also had an operatic body. He looked like an old-time tenor. Very handsome face, but a very large rest of him. And it kind of spoiled the picture. It kind of made it no contest between Arthur and Lancelot, you know.
Because
And
she would be like, why wouldn't she stay with Arthur, even though this guy?
exactly. That's exactly what. But having seen Burnap and having heard him on YouTube, I realized that I did miss that, and I think that would have made it much more equal, because I think Burnap is handsome and sings well, and therefore a good opponent to Lancelot, you know. And were I the poor Guinevere, I would have had a hard choice between the two of them. Except that I know that. Well, never mind. I'll just leave it at that. But I thought Lancelot was outstanding, really and truly outstanding. I never liked. It's interesting because I never really liked, what's his name? Oh God, who played it originally? You know that. I can't think of it.
Oh, I'm
Who played Lancelot originally?
Well, Robert Goulet.
Robert Goulet. It made him a star, but I always found him to be sort of oily. From Lancelot on, I never particularly liked him.
Okay.
So this Lancelot, I just thought practically had a halo. He was so wonderful.
Who else? What other shows made their mark?
Well,
Yeah.
I was remarkably untouched by Leopoldstadt.
This is the first negative thing I've heard about Leopoldstadt all morning. Yeah.
Well, the problem was, and of course I was touched by the story, but I was not touched by the production. I found it to be too large. I know that the room was one of the, I mean, you know, I understand the psychology of it. The room itself was one of the characters. And so the room changed as the inhabitants changed. But there was so much room for them to get around in. And it became smaller when they were huddled against Nazis, et cetera, et cetera. I just found it to be that the distance made it hard for me to be emotionally attached to it. I don't know why. You understand what I'm saying, David? Am I making
for me,
that's
a typical stop art thing. I couldn't get into Arcadia the two times I've seen it. When people
no. I got into the story. No, the difference is I got into the story immediately. It had nothing to do with it. It's a very straightforward story. It was a very straightforward story. That was not the issue. And then at the end, when they were trying to name who had died, we know that the answer is all of them, except for one, you know, except for the child, everybody died. They started naming names, and it was like a Russian novel. If they only put up, instead of names, they would do.
Leslie, I'm afraid, Leslie, unfortunately, your audio is coming in and out, and we're not really able to understand.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is that any better?
A little better, yes.
Okay, terribly sorry about that. Anyway, so it was the
yeah.
It's still being a problem, huh?
Yeah. Well, that certainly Anne Juliet was your favorite show, and that overrated, at least in your mind, are Leopoldstadt and the Camelot. So that's a pretty good.
If I were reading Leopoldstadt, I would have enjoyed it more than seeing it. I guess it was the production itself and not the story. I'm trying to differentiate between the two. I know you need me to go, or was that everything?
Well, yeah, if that's everything you. Plus, if I can't hear what you're saying, then you know it becomes.
Oh, you still can't hear what I'm saying.
Now I hear you. Now you're fine. So, do you have any other thoughts about this past season, or Broadway, or the Tonys?
I felt that Parade made a statement, and I was very happy to see it. Enjoyed is not the right word. I was moved by Parade. I was moved by it the first time. I was moved by it the second time. I mean, originally as well as this time. And I think the story of Parade is very well told. I thought this was an excellent production of Parade.
Cool.
So I guess that covers it.
Wonderful. Well, that is the parade of guests that we've had on this episode of Dave's Gone By, our Tony Show. I want to thank Leslie Hoban Blake. Remember that you can watch her in episodes of Two on the Aisle with Charlie Gross. And Leslie, have there been any new segments or new episodes?
Yes, we actually taped 3 shows, and Charlie will be working on putting them online, both as segments and at MNN. We actually covered 9 shows. Charlie was very kind and waited for me.
We're losing you again, Les. All right, Leslie, thank you for being with us in the neighborhood. Have a great one.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Okay.